Good morning and welcome back to Snyder Smoke Shack today, guys. This morning we're going to continue our small series on our cooking on a budget. We're going to show you today how we're going to take a 9.5 pound pork butt and we're going to turn it into some best pulled pork that you'll ever have. So what we're going to start with is we're going to open this package up. We're going to cut this pork out of here, not to cut ourselves with this sharp knife here. And then, once we get it out, we're going to score it up on the fat cap side. So guys, this is our top side. This is our fat cap side. A lot of people, they like to trim it and they come in and they cut it off and they like to make tallow to baste it in and all that during the cook. But that's too simple or too hard, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our striations here along this fat cap. We're going to cut them about a 1/2 inch wide to a 1/2 inch deep, and we're going to do all the way across, and we're going to come back on the other side and do it at a different angle. This is actually skin, which would make some really good crackling. So now we're going to turn it 90 degrees and we're going to striation it again this way. And then I've got some really good rub here today, guys. We're running the Traeger pork rub here, which is really good stuff. Pork Perfect. If you've never tried it, you should really try it. It will also go very well with fish. It's not really spicy. It has a really nice sweet flavor to it and smoky. So we're gonna, again, very liberally rub it into all those striations, and then we'll pat to push it in. So once we get that, it's not going to take a whole lot on that side because that side's going to be the side up. We're going to always cook here at Snyder Smokehouse or Smoke Shack. We always cook it with the fat cap up. The reason that we do that today is because we want to keep all that moisture and all that good fat. We want to keep it going right back down into the meat, guys. That's where you're going to get your most flavor, and that's where you're going to get all your fat to keep it moist. And that's going to be your ticket. Look at that, guys. That is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to put this into our 225 degrees smoke pit here. I'm going to wipe my paws off here. Put it in at 225 degrees. And then we're going to let it sit in there for about, I'll probably let it run for about 6 or 7 hours before I test it out. And in about 6 or 7 hours, we'll come back and we'll put the meat probes in there. There's no reason to put the meat probes in there like this, guys. So once we get out in the pit, you can take a look at that. It looks mighty fine, and it's already smelling really good, folks. So we're gonna shut this here. We're gonna let it rest and go to bed for about 7 hours, and we'll catch you back. Welcome back to Snyder Smoke Shack, guys, this afternoon here in Northern California. Beautiful sunny day. We're about 72 degrees. Absolute perfect day. So we're at the second part of our smoke on our pulled pork. I'm going to go ahead and open the pit. We're going to take a look and see what we got here. Oh boy. Yeah, that looks absolutely perfect. So right now, guys, it's been in for 5 hours. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this out and we're going to put it out here on the table. We're going to probe it and check the temperature, make sure that we're about 140 because that's about the stall. That's where we want it. Then we're going to, if we hit that temperature, we're going to wrap it up with foil. We're going to put a 1/2 of a beer in here to keep the temperature and the moisture up. And then we're going to go from there. So I'm going to pull this puppy out of the pit here. Oh, it's looking beautiful, guys. Look at that. Just take a look at that. That is gorgeous. That is what you're after. So we're hoping to hit our target temperature of at least 140 degrees. Like I said, 140 degrees is where it hits its stall. And when it hits its stall, it's because the maximum amount of moisture, it's finally getting to temperature where that moisture is going to start dissipating. It's starting to breaking down all those collagens. And ooh, look at that. Nice and easy into the probe. Absolutely beautiful. There's a bone. So you got to be careful where you put the probes at, guys, because if you put the probe onto a bone, you're going to get a false temperature and a false reading, and that's not what you want. It's already pretty much probe tender. I just hit a bone there, so go there. So here we are, guys. 158. 160 and 153 degrees on that probe. And this is absolutely perfect. So now we know where our temperatures are. I'm gonna pull these probes back out, and what we're gonna do is wrap it with foil. So let's go on and carry on to the next step here. Those look perfect. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna grab ourselves one of our beers, and we're just gonna kind of spritz it over the top here, guys. And that's gonna distribute that flavor throughout the rest of this. And you know how it goes. 3/4 to the meat and 1/4 to the chef. So now we're there. We're gonna take our foil out. Yeah, we're gonna double layer this just to ensure that we get the maximum amount of coverage here and keep all that moisture and that heat in there, because that's what we're trying to achieve right now, to not get this to dry out. So I'm gonna put one more layer of foil on that. We're gonna put it back in the pit. And when we put it back in the pit, we're gonna raise up the temperature, guys. We're gonna bring it up to about 275 to 300 degrees. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna help steam this meat. And in the end, you're gonna watch on our next part here, we're gonna be able to take that bone and we're gonna be able to pull it clean out, and there won't be any meat on there. And that's exactly what we're shooting for, guys. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna put this back in the pit after we put our probes in here, just to monitor our temperature, because our next goal here, guys, is 205 degrees. At 205 degrees, you get your maximum breakdown of all those collagens in this meat. And we want to take that plastic off of there for sure. We don't want that in there unless, yeah. So now that we got this in here, guys, we're gonna take our meat probe temperature thermometer here, and we're gonna put it up here in a safe location. Then we're gonna shut this pit, and we're at 145, and 144 degrees. We're perfect all the way across. That's what we're looking for. So we're gonna raise this temperature up to about 275 degrees, and we're gonna keep a monitor and keep an eye on this and making sure once we get to 205 is when we're gonna pull it. We're gonna rewrap it with some towels, and we're gonna put it in the cooler, and we're gonna let it rest for about an hour to 2 hours. So we will see you guys once we hit the 205. Thanks for sticking around. Please like and subscribe the video. Please come back and keep looking forward to our content. Again, this is part of our cooking on a budget today, guys. So we're gonna continue with this series. Keep looking forward. We're gonna do a smoked turkey next. This chunk of meat was only $22. So again, we're gonna take a 10-pound piece of meat. It's gonna lose some weight in the process. But in the end, what we got here is we're gonna make pulled pork sliders, and we're gonna use these pretzel buns. These are absolutely delicious, guys. And we've got some fresh coleslaw that we have made, and we're gonna top these off with coleslaw. So you'll see us at 205. We'll pull it off, give you the money shot. Stick around, folks. You're gonna enjoy this. Welcome back to Snyder Smoke Shack, guys. So we have had this pork butt in here for 9 hours. We put it on at 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 6:15 in the evening. So that leaves 9 hours on there. So we are now at our absolute perfect temperature. We got a 205, a 203, 203. Different thicknesses of that meat. We need to be careful, because if we're reading at 205 in the thickest point, we're reading 203 down on the thinnest point. We want to make sure that we're not going to overcook that thinnest point. So that's why we're going to pull it right now at this 205, 203, and 203 temperature. So this has been wrapped up for about 3 hours now. We're going to put it right here. I'm going to take our probes out of here. They're pretty hot, guys. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to show you what it looks like after all this time. Let me shut this pit down, try to tame that noise down in the background, but it's pretty warm, fellers. Yeah, that's pretty warm, but we'll get her. So we're going to open this up. Or maybe I'll just use one of these meat probes here. We'll improvise, adapt, and overcome here. Would you just take a look? Wow, guys. Take a look at that bark. That looks beautiful. So we were at 205. We're gonna rest this in the cooler for about an hour, guys. And then we'll be back, and then we'll get our sliders together. We'll show you how delicious this looks. Thanks for sticking around. So now that we've got this done, guys, we're at 205. We're gonna take it and we're gonna put it in our cooler here, and we're gonna rest it for an hour. And at that time, we'll be able to pull this apart, and I'll show you how the bone pulls right out of the meat itself. Shout out to Igloo Coolers. They've really stepped up their game in this new technology, especially when it comes down to the Yeti and other coolers that are comparable. This thing was $300 2 years ago, guys, back in 2021. It's a pretty good comparison to Yeti coolers. I'll give it a 5-star right there. Thanks, Igloo, because you have made it possible for me to be able to rest my meat and be able to give a quality product in the end. We'll see you around, guys. So here we are at the last step of our video here. This is the most important part here. So we got our pork butt up to 205. We rested it in the cooler here for about an hour, and it's about ready to go. So what we got right here is we got homemade coleslaw and coleslaw dressing that we actually purchased from the store. So that will go onto our sliders. This is Snyder Smoke Shack's Signature Series barbecue sauce, but I also put about 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar in that to make it a Carolina style barbecue sauce. So we have our pretzel buns here. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. Those are gonna make a really nice presentation on the plate. So now that we are ready to pull our pulled pork out and actually pull it, you can watch. We're gonna take it out of the cooler here, and absolutely fantastic, as long as I don't drop it, because if I drop it, then you know the doggos will be very excited. So here we go, guys. Wow, would you just take a look at that? Looks absolutely beautiful. We're gonna find that bone here. We're gonna see if that bone will pull out of it. And it's a pretty big chunk of meat, so we're gonna have to flip this thing over, guys. Wow. I think that speaks enough for itself. So look at this. Guys, I don't think you're gonna get better than that right there. So now we're going to build up a pork slider here. I'm going to show you guys what I do. I take a little bit of this pulled pork, which as you can see, just the texture of that and just being able to pull that bone right out of the meat is absolutely fantastic. Look at that bark on there, guys. It's beautiful. So we're going to build a little bit of this up here and with the meat. Then I'm going to douse it with some of our Snyder Smoke Shack barbecue sauce here, Carolina style. And the rest of it's going to go in there anyway, so it doesn't matter if we slop a little bit, guys. If it's not dirty, it probably don't taste good. So now that you've seen the money shot, guys, thanks for sticking around for this whole video. I'm going to give a taste test here. That's delicious, guys. So nice, moist, smoky, sweet, little bit of salty, little spicy. That's absolutely something that you would find in a North Carolina barbecue house. But what I did forget, we forgot to put a little bit of the homemade coleslaw on there. So now we'll give a taste of that. That gives it that sweeter, creamier flavor. Little bite of that onion and the cabbage coming through. That zestiness of the dill. It's absolutely delicious, guys. So I want to give a shout out to my buddy here that's helping me edit and film these videos, Donnie with 20 Plus Trucking. You should go over and check his channel out. We do a lot of community things together as a family, guys. And so this pork right here is going to send Donnie probably 5 or 6 of these pork sliders to be able to go on the road and have enough food to get through the week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a smoked turkey, and I got some really exciting content coming out over that, guys. So definitely look forward to that. Thanks for sticking around. This has turned out absolutely delicious, but make sure you go check Donnie at 20 Plus Trucking out on YouTube. Thanks for sticking around, guys.